Hi everyone, in today's video we'll see how to handle the misunderstanding in more efficient way because most of the people, they either go awkwardly silent or it'll end up as a fight. So in this video, I'll teach you how to handle a situation that when a misunderstanding had happened in a very smooth and effective way. Let's jump in. The content which we're going to see in this particular video are what is meant by misunderstanding and why it is actually happening, what is the cost of misunderstanding, the foundation of preventing the misunderstanding, active listening technique, clear communication technique, handling the misunderstanding in the real time, tools and practices, and prevention and growth. These are the content that we're going to see today. Well, what is meant by misunderstanding? The definition I can put it here very simply. The gap that is arising between two person communicating and then one person say A says something and B didn't understand or he is lagging behind. That's what you call it as misunderstanding. Misunderstanding is nothing but the meaning that you want to convey to another person was not delivered properly or it is not understood by the person properly. That's what you call it as misunderstanding. What are the common possibilities that this misunderstanding might happen? First is ambiguous language. Ambiguous language is like the language that you're using it, whether it could be easy for the person to understand, or sometimes it's really difficult for the person to understand. So whenever you explain something to the people, make sure that you explain it very simply and clean, so which people will not end up in saying that, oh my god, I don't understand what you're saying, or I can't even process what you're saying. So try to avoid the ambiguous language. The second one is assumption. So even before you finish your sentence or even before you finish what is that you want to say to that people come to a conclusion. It's called as assumptions. So this might lead to the judgmental attitude towards another person. So try not to be so much assumptuous when somebody is saying so. Third is cultural differences. If A is from one place and B is from one place and they are trying to talk something very much commonly, that might mislead because of the cultural differences that they have. So this person, A person would have been practiced with some kind of culture, and B person would have practiced with some other culture. So the cultural differences plays a very crucial role. I'll give you an example here. If a person from India or Tamil Nadu, we take it example, and a foreigner, according to the foreigner, handshake and public etiquette is very, very important, and time management is very much important. When you take the Tamil people, the greeting that how you do and the way that how you treat the people, it matters a lot. So it plays a very crucial role. So when the foreigner is not going to pay much attention to the elderly respect that he or she ought to give, and the Tamilian, if he is not going to follow any public etiquette, then it's going to be a cultural difference. You get me? So the traits and the etiquette which we follow in different cultures is different. So that might end up with misunderstanding. The last one is a noise in the communication channels, I would say. Example, if you're having a conversation with A and B person via the call, and what you're trying to intend to say might not be so much clear because that person, you're not seeing the facial expression. We do not know whether they are paying attention. We do not know whether they are listening only to the call. They're not doing any side work. In case if that is if that is going to happen, then trust me, they're not going to listen, or they're end up being misunderstanding. What will be the impact when misunderstanding is happening? First is waste of time. You would have spent almost like 5 to 10 minutes or an hour explaining something to a person, and that person either shows a zero interest or he didn't understand from starting to end. It's a complete time waste, and your energy also waste. Second one, you'll end up with frustration. Oh my god, I'm explaining to this person from starting till end, but then this person is not even paying attention, or we might feel like, does this person have even brain? He acts like a bird brain. That's how we might think. So it creates a frustration. Next is damaging the relationship. Imagine you're in a very high position, and then most of the time there's a misunderstanding or a clash is happening. So what will happen? Definitely, it will lead to a damage of that particular relationship, and a lot of errors would happen. So this is the impact that happens when a misunderstanding arises. So why it is basically happening? The first one is assumption and the conjunctive basis, shaping interruption, interpretation, poor listening and selective hearing, inadequate context or missing information, communication channel limitation. Example, email tone or face-to-face interpretation. These are the possible ways that this misunderstanding would happen. The cost of misunderstanding. Okay. Now misunderstanding has happened. What it's going to do? It's going to affect your productivity, and it's going to affect the trust and the collaborative skill that you're actually having. It also increases your morale, the risk of your morale. And last one is you're going to do the work again and again just because of the misunderstanding. So make sure that you avoid it and you try to make the person understand. The foundation of preventing misunderstanding. Okay, what would be the strategy that we people can follow in order to avoid the misunderstanding? First, be very clear. Clarity plays a very important role. So when you're explaining something, state them. What is the purpose of doing it? What's your expectation and when you want to complete it? So if you put them a proper linear idea on what you expect and what is out expected outcome and what is the purpose of doing it, then it's easy for people to understand. Second one is you have to be active listening. If your listeners are not paying much attention or they look like passive listeners, trust me, it's not going to work. So make sure that they are doing an active listening. Third one, ask them the question: do you understand what I was actually saying, or what we're going to plan, or what we have planned to do? So always ask the question in between, so we should not end up with misunderstanding. Last one is use appropriate language. Don't use bombastic language. So as I already said, don't use any complex languages. Active listening technique. So how can you make them actively listen? First, pay full attention. Try to avoid the disturbances. For example, when you're going to host a meeting, make sure that everybody are having the mobiles aside. So which mobile is one of the biggest distractions we have got. And after finishing 3 to 5 paragraphs, try to paraphrase it. So which when you repeat things on and on, it will stay in their mind for a longer period. Next, try to reflect with a lot of emotion when you're speaking it. If you're gonna go with the same pace and no facial expression and raw voice, what that you're gonna be there, then it's gonna be very difficult. People are not gonna be interested and validate other people's feeling. What's clear communication? Clear communication, as I've already said, make sure that your language has to be really easy enough, and it has to be the message has to be very structured way. It should not be clumsy, and then try to avoid it too much of rationalize. And the final is do the recap. Handling misunderstanding in the real time. Pause and regroup when needed. Acknowledge the misunderstanding non-defensively. Restart your message from the scratch. Make them to understand the purpose. Tools and practices. Try to have a summary session whenever you do it. So minute to minute means minute to minutes of meeting plays an important role, and use a lot of visual diagrams. So which it's not going to pay more deficit in other people's listening, and then you can have mutual agreement and a checklist with the people. So which it's not going to cost a lot. Last one is do a follow up. Growth and the preventions. One, we're going to give them a proper sketch. Two, we're going to do a follow-up. And three, how is going to be beneficial for me. The first one is you can foster the multicultural into one place. You make everybody to understand how this culture actually functions, and it helps. Second one, a better communication will happen, because with a better communication, it's easy for us to know whether do they understand or not. And third one, try to have a proper review. So, which if a misunderstanding is happening, you need to go and explain them at the last. In between, you can intervene and then you can explain them. And the last one, a quick one, always work. So, I believe if you're going to follow all of these techniques which I have taught you, this will do a great job. Thanks so much for watching the video.